Hey everybody, so I wanted to talk about my Heart Chakra Awakening experience and what it would feel like if you have a Heart Chakra Awakening. Over 10 years ago, I started getting into like New Age stuff, you know. I had pulled away from the church. I used to go to this Christian church. Something happened. I was just like, there's no knowledge here. There's no spirituality here. I just don't feel it. And so I started getting my hands on just all kinds of like hypnosis, regression books, books by Dr. Newton about, things like life between lives. And I was even reading like some Sylvia Browne books. I know like a lot of people don't like Sylvia Browne and stuff, but no, she wrote some interesting stuff. And it was actually because of one of her books that I think this happened to me. Um, I was signed up to her church to get some more books, because I was reading all kinds of stuff like that. Um, I was just very curious. I wanted to see what she had to say about the afterlife, about her spiritual beliefs, and what her guide was telling her. And she mentioned something that I found very intriguing. And she said that there is no sex in heaven, and there's something much better, and it's called a soul merging. And I just kind of put that in the back of my mind of like, that's interesting. I wonder what that feels like. And sure enough, I got to experience what that felt like. I think maybe a few months after that. I don't remember how long it was after I read that. But with a lot of these like New Age books, you kind of have to take some things with a grain of salt. Even the regression, the hypnosis, all that stuff. You have to have some level of discernment. You don't have to believe everything you read in a book or everything somebody tells you, because some things are just subject to misinterpretation. Some people recall things incorrectly, things like that. So I find it all fascinating and interesting because I'm the type of person who has a lot of questions, and I was never satisfied with what the church was offering. They just never had any answer to any questions, the real questions. And they just said, it's our job to spread the word of Jesus, and maybe you'll find out when you die. I was just not happy with that. So, anyway, getting back to the point, one night I had a very, I don't know what to call it, but it was a very crazy dream. There had been this guy that was brought to me in my dreams a few months prior to this, or somewhere around there, and I thought that was kind of weird. They're like, hey, we brought this guy here. He's going to help you with stuff. I'm like, and this was in my dreams, and I'm like, all right. And then he would just come along with me, and over multiple dreams, over a few months, and usually I would just be like fighting demons and stuff, which is kind of weird. And usually these demons were like shadow creatures, like shadow people. And on reflection, I think these demons were my own demons, like fighting my internal demons. Because that makes sense now regarding what happened to me. But anyway, after a few months, I was fighting more demons, and I walked into his room. He was at this hotel, and some two shadow demons came out of the closet, and I started fighting them. I had these swords, and for some reason, I thought it was him. He dressed up and trying to prank me, and I'm like, oh no, I cut him up. What if that was, I don't know, it's just a weird thought I had. And he came walking out. He's like, oh, what happened? And I'm like, oh, thank God you're okay. I'm like, hey, let's go hang out at the beach or something, So we go down to the beach. And so at this time, he's sort of like this friend that just hangs out with me when I'm fighting these things. And we go down to the beach, and the sun is acting weird. Like it's setting and then it's rising, and then it's setting and then it's rising, and then it starts going faster up and down. I'm like, what is going on with this stupid sun? And he starts talking to me, but I'm so distracted by the sun, I'm just kind of ignoring him. And he's talking about feelings and stuff, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Like how I felt about him, and when why I asked him to come to the beach. He's like, I know why you asked me to come down here. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And he's like, why don't you just admit that you love me? And I was kind of shocked and taken back. And I'm like, I don't, what? And then as he started walking towards me, I started feeling like all this love, emanating from him. And I'm like, oh, like I never knew I had these feelings for you, because they were coming from me as well, and they were coming from him. And as he came up to me, I put my hand on his chest, and all of this love, it was like a bomb of love, and our souls like just merged together. And I felt the most euphoric love that I can ever describe. It was divine. It was heavenly. There's no words for it, because it's like, yes, it was better than sex. It was like 1,000,000 times better than sex. There's just nothing in this physical world that could ever compare to this overwhelming feeling of love and the level of connection that we had at that moment. And I felt like at that moment I knew everything there was to know about this guy. And but I don't remember when I woke up. I just I knew him at a personality level, like I knew him as a soul. And if there's other stuff that about his life and everything, I have no idea. And I woke up and I felt that euphoria for 2 weeks. And for 2 weeks, I was in this crazy love bubble. And I've even heard it referred to that to some other channels on YouTube. Like, oh my God, that was me. I felt the same thing. And they're usually talking about like twin flames and stuff. But sometimes they said that there's like a catalyst that'll come along and help you open up your heart chakra. And basically what that is that's where our soul is. In the Vedas and in the Hindu beliefs system, they say your soul is in your heart. And right next to your heart is God. So within us, we have God and our soul, and they're right there together in the same place. And that's where all that love is. We have that love within us, and it's incredibly hard with these meat suits that we live in and with these stupid brains to feel that and to feel that type of love that we feel when we die, basically, because this love that I felt, I only ever hear it with near-death experiencers. So it was almost like I had a near-death experience too. I don't this guy, and I was like scratching my head, like, what is with this guy? Because it was kind of funny. This guy was kind of like a celebrity too, like kind of, not everybody knows him, but I met him twice. The first time I met him, I was so nervous. All I could get out of my mouth was, "Oh, I love you." And he's just like, "Aw." It's so dumb. And then I got his autograph and I left. And then the second time, he remembered my name. I guess I gave him my name. I was so nervous I forgot. After a year of never seeing him, this celebrity guy remembers me, and I was still like so nervous. I didn't tell him anything. I just went on about my life. I just wanted to see him again. And funnily enough, maybe because it's me, I scared him away. But he gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I didn't kiss him back. I was nervous. I couldn't even get my camera out to take a picture. I had to have somebody else like touch the button. But anyway, I kept dreaming about him constantly, all these years. And recently, I've been pulling myself away emotionally because I feel like I got a bit obsessed, and just disappointed because I can't be with this person who might be my soulmate or one of my soulmates or something like this. And part of that is me because, like, who am I? I'm like a nobody, right? And I'm in a situation where I have a disabled kid that, she's 18 now, but she's pretty dependent on me still. So for a long time, I was in that situation, and I was just like, I wanted to write him a letter, but there was no way to get a letter to him. So I know it probably sounds like a fangirl kind of thing, but I didn't even like this person before these dreams started happening. That's why I was so confused. I'm like, why is this guy in my dreams hanging out with me while I'm fighting demons? It just doesn't make any sense. But okay, whatever, you can tag along and then our souls merge, and then I have a heart chakra awakening. But I think that some people are right when they say that sometimes people can come along as a catalyst and sort of break you open and help you heal. Also in that moment, I looked like a zombie. I was like walking death in that dream. Because in my dreams, sometimes I see them in a third person perspective. I can flip back and forth to seeing myself and being inside my body. But I saw myself before, and then during the soul merge, I started becoming fresher, and my skin color came back. And after that, I was a totally different person. Like all of the trauma and pain and hurt was all just cleaned away, and all I could feel for 2 weeks was love. I didn't want to eat. Like, I had no appetite. I'm like, how can you compare food with what I just experienced with? How can you compare sex with just like I don't want any of that shit, you know? I just want that love, and that's all I wanted. But at some point, I had another dream where I was abducted by reptilians, and they were like, they really got onto me. I'll talk more about that later, but they're like, you need to start eating, girl, you know? you can't, I mean, you still have a body, basically. And I got up and I started eating again. But for like 2 weeks, I don't think I ate anything. I mean, I was drinking a little bit, but that's how incredible that love that I was feeling was. And so anyway, like, he's got his life and I've got mine. And I don't think we were meant to be together in this life. So I'm cool with that. And like I said, like, this other channel was talking about sometimes we do get confused when there's people that break open our chakras like that. We may form an attachment to them, and it could have just been him just healing me, and that was all he was needed for, was for that healing and to open my heart chakra. So I could have just misinterpreted that, but I felt so much love that, and then I connected it to him. You know, I don't know. I don't really know for sure. I was shown some dreams where we had some past lives together. So maybe it is some type of soulmate situation, but I can't say for sure. I don't want to like put labels on stuff right now for that. But anyway, that's what a heart chakra awakening feels like. You're going to feel this, and it's going to be very powerful, and it's going to be very incredible. And, you know, especially if you've had a lot of trauma in your life and you've never experienced like genuine love, you know, like growing up, my mother was very unaffectionate. She never told us she loved us. She never hugged us. And my dad was a little more affectionate when he eventually got custody of us, but it was still kind of like a hands-off sort of thing. You know, we weren't all cuddly and you know, that sort of thing. But I think for anybody experiencing that type of love would be pretty overwhelming too. So, and I can still kind of feel that type of love today, but like in very small doses. You know, I still feel that love coming from the soul, coming from the heart chakra, and it extends to it could extend to people, and it could extend to animals as well. I didn't become like vegetarian or anything at the time, but I did eventually. But that's a whole other story. I went vegan actually because, you know, I realized that I love all animals. I love them, you know, a lot. So I felt like why am I going to eat them if I love them? You know? And the horrible things that happens to them, I don't agree with it. But anyway, at that time, that even though also I did a lot of meditation. Around that time. So even though I was reading all these books, I was getting into meditation and hypnosis, and I think that helped as well. I think getting your brain into an altered frequency and altered state, and if you do that like consistently, like once or twice, even every day, you know, once or twice a week or every day, that can help you eventually have these experiences, because that's what happened to me. I was looking into regressive hypnosis. Even though I wasn't able to regress myself in past lives, those past life dreams came to me eventually. And I was trying to do hypnosis to contact my guides, and I was able to contact one of my guides. And another guide would just, you know, show up in my dreams a lot and tell me what I should do. And the other guide would tell me they would tell me things that I should say before I talk to this other guy, that it's like, hey, you need to tell him this. You need to tell him you love him. You need to call him by his name, not a stage name. And he'll like that. And he did like that. So, but I don't know if they're disappointed in me or not right now, if we're just, just piecing out and, getting out of there and just understanding the situation as like this, is never going to work. And he's with somebody else right now. And I'm not the type of person to like want to try to steal somebody away from a relationship, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. And, I respect that. And I'm not going to participate in any cheating. I don't think that's right. So I was like, he's probably happy with his life and the person he's with. So I'm not going to bother with any more of that stuff. So I had to put that aside and, like just carry on with life. But anyway, I was also in a very dark place at the time. Like, it felt like I was in this dark hole, like this dark abyss, just every night, every day. I was in this fog of horrible depression. And I still have that depression, because eventually you come out of that love bubble and you have to grudge through life. You have to get through life. You have to go to work. You have to take care of your kids. And when you're in that just highly elevated state of love, it's really hard to focus on things, because you're in like this euphoric state and all you want to do is just bathe in this love. So this happened to me a couple of times, actually. It can happen again, but it took many years. This happened to me recently. That I'll talk about that later because that's a sensitive subject, and with a different entity, I'd have to say. But anyway, that was my heart chakra experience. If you want to have one, you can always just ask your guides. You can pray for it. You can ask for help. Like, I want some help healing with my trauma, with my, and right now I'm not saying to like go off your meds and stop seeing a psychiatrist, because I'm currently on medication myself. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to function or get through my day at this point. But you can always pray and ask for that merging, or you can ask for a cleansing, or you can ask for help with your heart chakra. And you should do some meditation, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Usually takes me at least 15 minutes to get into an altered state of consciousness. And that's all that really matters. You don't have to meditate on a specific subject and just keep asking, hey, I want to have this experience. There you can do guided visual hypnosis. Those will help you get into an altered state of consciousness. You can chant mantras. It can be any mantra you want. And you can just chant that over and over and over again and focus on like a picture or a symbol. You just have to get your mind to focus on one thing and one sentence that you're saying, or one word over and over and over. And you do that for like 15 minutes, and your brain will be in altered state of consciousness. And sometimes you'll know for sure that you're at the highest altered state of consciousness or close to it when you feel like you're floating. When you get that floating feeling, or you get that feeling like you're in space, you probably reached it. You're probably in a good place. I like to call it like the void, where I feel like I'm just floating around. It's like in your each individual meditation, exercises, don't expect anything to happen while you're meditating. Like, sometimes something could happen, but it's been I usually see things, or hear things, messages from gods or messages from other entities or whatnot. I usually meditate to my personal gods, but I'll talk about that later. We're talking about heart chakra stuff right now. But you could have an experience in a dreams, or it can happen to when you're awake. But yeah, that's what a real heart chakra awakening will feel like. The love that you will feel will not be of this earth, because it's not of this earth. The heart chakra is the chakra. It's the fourth chakra. It's above this dimension. It's outside this earthly dimension. And connecting with it is connecting with your true self. It's loving yourself. So loving yourself involves taking care of yourself too. So some things you want to do in your physical life to try to work on your heart chakra is to also learn to love yourself. Like eat healthy, exercise. That's part of loving and taking care of your body, right? But that's part of loving and taking care of yourself. You know, dropping negative words that you associate with yourself. You know, stop calling yourself fat or ugly or whatnot. You got to look at yourself and be like, hey, I'm a great person, or I'm an attractive person, you know. Or it just doesn't matter. I am who I am, you know, and whatever. And you know, stop calling yourself bad names, stupid, worthless. Just stop all of that, you know. Focus on your positive qualities. If it helps, focus on the things that make you unique, you know, and individual, things that you like, traits that you have, good positive traits, good positive qualities. That actually helped me because, you know, coming from an abusive childhood, I had all of these negative thoughts about myself that I just really had to dispel, you know, and I didn't even know who I was. I was kind of lost at who I was because I spent so much of my youth in autopilot, you know, just trying to navigate the chaos. That was my life. So you kind of get left with a sense of no identity, and that leads to no self-love, right? So you got to work on your identity, focus on things you like to do and enjoy, your hobbies. Like this, you know, I like doing this. This is a part of who I am, and you know, and I'm pretty good at it, or I can get pretty good at it. I like to write, I like to draw, I like to play music, I like to listen to music, I love to watch movies and make critiques about it. It could be anything, really. I love to garden, I love to plant plants, you know, and I'm good at putting makeup on. I'm good at just anything, really. So part of that process of working towards opening your heart chakra is self-love. And then the spiritual advancement, the spiritual knowledge seeking, meditation, looking for answers. You know, any kind of meditation is good so long as you can get into that altered state, and a desire to want to experience these things. And you got to put the work in. That's just how it is. You got to put that work in with your meditation. You got to put that work in with really diving into your spirituality. I do recommend all those books too. Even if you don't like Sylvia Brown, I'm probably going to reorder her books from her church just to read it, you know, and find the sections that I agree with and I like, you know. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to believe everything. Dr. Newton, Dr. Brian Weiss, their books are all very good. What's her name? I did like her book too. There was some things that I found that I didn't agree with her. Cannon, I think it was Cannon. Yeah. She wrote The Custodians, and that was about aliens. That was actually pretty good. And my next video, probably this weekend, hopefully, when I pick up my daughter, we're going to talk about our abduction experiences and what we've been dealing with all our lives. So I forgot to add one thing. After I had this experience, I suddenly understood all of those weird religious paintings of the fiery heart. Like you'll see it in Jesus and you'll see it in other apostles and popes and stuff like that. I'm like, what is with this fiery heart or immaculate heart and stuff like that? But I think maybe the original artists who paint stuff like that, maybe they had a heart chakra awakening too, or they felt that immense divine love themselves. And suddenly that made total sense to me after that. So I just wanted to add that little blip in. Sorry this video was so long. It was it was a crazy experience, and I hope you guys, if you're interested in opening your heart chakra, that you're successful at it. Okay? All right. Thank you all for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. Thank you.